Hawks Lays an Egg by Butterfly Apocalypse on AO3. Episode 13. Chapter 6. Dabi had to activate his quirk under his skin to keep warm as the sun started sinking below the horizon. He knew Hawks was irritating. He knew this was intimidating. He knew this, and he, tolerated him anyways. In truth, he wasn't actually that angry at Hawks. Annoyed? Yes. He disrespected the consummate art form that was Lion King. Hawks would probably disagree with him and say that Lion King was just furry Hamlet. Or he might even be the type of person to point out that Lion King was probably a plagiarized version of 1915 shonen manga Kimbo the White Lion. And the thing was, if he did that, Dabi wouldn't be able to argue, because he would be correct. And that damn white lion was real kawaii to boot. So, even Lion King had a special place in Dabi's heart. He related partially to Scar. He had a good villain song. Shit, did Dabi need a villain song? He should make a villain song. Maybe the whole League of Villains theme. Except, he doubted their ability to harmonize, and he's pretty sure Shigaraki would be a whole diva and demand the melody or something. Yeah, no, if he was gonna have a villain song, it was gonna have to be a solo. Part of him was also vaguely disappointed that Hawks evidently couldn't sing. That ruled out duets if he ever got invited to one of the League of Villains karaoke nights. Who was he gonna sing Summer Nights with? Toga? Actually, Spinner would probably be willing. No, never mind, that was a bad train of thought. Dabi sighed heavy. He should probably get back to Hawks' apartment. Hawks seemed the type to secretly worry, and Dabi had left quite abruptly. He knew that he'd been the one to bring up the whole name thing, but hadn't realized how mortifying it was going to be to suggest that they name Omelette after himself. He thought he was going to combust, and then Hawks had to go and suggest to name the kid something with N. He was going to have to double kill Endeavor now, and single kill him was proving to be hard. The apartment was quiet. He didn't know what to expect. Hawks to throw himself into his arms in relief that he hadn't left for good? Had Hawks ever jumped into his arms? He kind of liked the idea of it. But with all the fried food the guy ate, despite Dabi's best efforts to make him eat healthy, he wasn't sure if he could lift him. Hawks was in the bedroom. He looked up from the phone when Dabi entered. "You're back," he comments bitterly. Secretly worried? Yeah, right. Maybe Hawks' dumbassery was contagious, if Dabi actually thought he was going to worry about him disappearing. Or even more unlikely, Dabi thought with a short worry about hurting his feelings. He was a hardened criminal. Hawks couldn't hurt his feelings, and Hawks was smart enough to know that. "You staying the night?" Hawks asked. Dabi quirked an eyebrow. "You postponing me?" No, I was hoping you'd watch Omelette for a few hours so I could sleep." Hawks fluttered his eyelashes stupidly. Dabi snorted. He flipped off the light. "Timer starts now. Your shift starts at 3. For all intents and purposes, Dabi had moved in with Hawks. They took shifts watching over Omelette while the others slept or went for food, or worked, or shopping, or whatever. It was disgustingly domestic and horrifyingly addicting. Dabi wasn't sure when exactly it had happened, but he began to discover clothes that were distinctly not Hawks' style and suspiciously in Dabi's size in one of Hawks' drawers. He felt unpleasantly predictable in that he definitely wouldn't have accepted them outright, but he had been very pleased to steal them. Snacks he liked earned a place in the pantry. Soaps with scents he liked lived in the shower right next to Hawks' expensive collection of hair products. He had begun to think of the left side of the bed as his side. He knew what songs Hawks liked to sing in the shower. He knew how Hawks liked his coffee. It was the blondest shit Dabi had ever seen in his life. He was pretty sure he could give Hawks a cup of hot creamer and he would think it was perfect. Every morning was morning Hawks, morning Omelette. Every day was chatting with Omelette to try out names, to see what felt right. Currently, Hawks was partially attached to Hakuru, And Dabi, not wanting to admit the idea came from Shigaraki, was insistent that Hakaru was much better. It's literally fire and bird. It starts with H. What's not to like? Every night was early shift or late shift. It was comfortable. Well, actually, it was indescribably frustrating, because Hawks was apparently determined to personally ensure that Dabi never saw any action ever again as long as he should live. Hawks was a tease and a half, and then suddenly it would be, oh, we should check on Omelette. On top of that, it was getting really hard to convince himself that he was only physically attracted to Hawks, when he was perfectly content with gentle kisses in the morning, and when he felt like smiling whenever Hawks reached for his hand in a sleepy state. He was so unused to the casual physical affection, there was no other word for it, that it always caught him off guard when Hawks leaned against his back while he was cooking, or dropped a kiss in his hair when they changing Omelette watching shifts. The first time Hawks had sat him down to help him clean his surfaces, Dabi had been paralyzed, feeling tingy from head to toe. Getting attached to Hawks was a bad idea on so many levels. He was getting dangerously close to feeling fond. It was too easy to believe sometimes that Hawks was fond of him as well, maybe even more than fond. Sometimes he caught Hawks gazing at him with something like adoration in his eyes. Sometimes he caught himself looking at Hawks just for the sake of looking. And sometimes when he caught Hawks staring and smiled at him, it made him feel like a shoujin anime schoolgirl being noticed by senpai. And for some reason, it made him feel horny. But it was different. It wasn't like he thought Hawks was irresistibly sexy or doing anything provocative in those moments. He was just Hawks. And that somehow was enough for him to get worked up. He just wanted to have sex with Hawks. More than that, he wanted to be intimate with Hawks. And that was terrifying. He hoped a good romp or two would make the feeling go away. But he suspected the issue was much deeper seated. It was worth a shot, though. Maybe several shots. Maybe a lot of shots. Dabi was pretty sure he narrowed down the primary issue, holding Hawks' back. Mostly, Hawks was worried about leaving Omelette alone, uncared for too long. And what did Omelette need? Heat and humidity to be turned every so often? But that wasn't urgent. So Dabi had cleverly found solutions. He marched into Hawks' apartment and placed the non-descriptive bag in front of him. "What tribute have you brought me now?" Hawks asked. "A solution," said Dabi. "A humidifier and an electric blanket." Hawks blinked and moved to investigate the box. The humidifier was shaped like a little chick. Despite the cutesy design, it was high-tech with sensors that promised to keep the room within a very small range of a set humidity. Similarly, the electric blanket was all souped up with a timer and a temperature setter. "These are expensive," Hawk said. "Where'd you get them?" "If you're concerned that I stole them, I just gotta say, you're not really cut out to be a villain." Dabi snarked. "No, that's not it." Hawks waved him off. "Where did you get it?" "Villain Mart." Dabi answered flatly. "That's not a thing." Hawks narrowed his eyes accusingly. He sounded just a little unsure. "Sure is," said Dabi. Hawks crossed his arms. "I don't believe you." Dabi shrugged. "You don't have to. You can't get in anyways unless you're a villain. It's like BJ's." "BJ's is Villain Mark?" Hawks laughed. "No, Villain Mart is like BJ's. You have to have a villain card to shop there. Prices are great, though." Hawks laughed even harder. "Can I see your villain card?" "Why, so you could copy it and steal my discounts? Hell no." Dabi couldn't quite help the laughter creeping into his voice. They rearranged the nest with electrical blankets after testing it out. It was so warm. And set the humidifier. Dabi stood back to admire their work. Omelette looked very cozy. "So," Hawk said, "Omelette is taken care of?" "Yeah." Dabi agreed, distractedly. Hawks cleared his throat. He wrapped his arms around Dabi's shoulder. He said, Omelette is taken care of. Oh. Dabi caught Hawks's drift. He also caught his waist and drew them flush together. He grinned woolishly. Guess we'll have to find some way to entertain ourselves. Guess so. Hawks pulled him down. Later, Hawks was snoozing off beside Dabi. Dabi poked him. Hey, Omelette probably has ears by now. Hawks peeked an eye open. Yeah, probably. Huh. You think he heard us? Hawks smacked him with a pillow. Unfortunately for Dabi, all evidence was going towards refuting his hypothesis. The more he was with Hawks, the more he wanted Hawks, and the worse the feeling got. This must be what people meant when they talked about domestic bliss. They had a Disney movie marathon. Hawks introduced Dabi to Lion King 1.5 and Lion King 2, neither of which held a candle to the original, in Dabi's humble, correct opinion. With Omelette. Hawks also insisted on exposing Omelette to as much 80s content as possible. Hawks was insufferable when they watched The Breakfast Club, quoting every line as if it was spoken. There was one song Hawks could sing with some skill, but the song was, unfortunately, Careless Whisper. If Dabi had to listen to Total Eclipse of the Heart one more time, he was going to put green hair dye in Hawks' shampoo. I want Flair's butler to be Hakuru's role model, Hawks said. I don't really think it's a good idea for us to teach Haru to be rebellious, Dabi commented. You know, just from the perspective as people would, he'd be rebellious against. Hawks scoffed. Huh, humbag. I'm gonna be the cool dad. You're gonna be the one Haru rebels against. Yeah, you're not really convincing me here. Hawks even showed him Lord of the Rings when he heard Dabi had never seen the movie. Hawks thought it was pretty good, except he and Hawks got, distracted halfway through, and when the movie ended, Dabi was horrified to learn that there was an entire disc, and then 2 more movies, and 2 discs each. Who had the time to watch all that? He wondered before if Hawks had free time, but now he knew Hawks had free time. He just wasted it watching a tiny blue-eyed twink boy moan over a piece of jewelry. Dabi wasn't gonna lie, though. That Strider figure could, get it. Pretty Elf Dude at the very end wasn't bad either. Dabi thought Lord of the Rings would be watchable if it were for that. 9 hours? Of just those 2. He was not overly moved by Hawks' insistence that there was much more Aegon and Leon content later. The more surprising thing to come out of all of this was that Dabi felt a sense of, comfort? Home? Not feeling like he was constantly in danger? He woke up groggily and relaxing in the mornings, sometimes wrapped in a pair of red wings, sometimes with Hawks drooling on the pillow next to him, sometimes with Hawks grinning over him like he had just had that damn happy that Dabi woke up. Sometimes he woke up to see Hawks running fingers over Omelette's shell. The days when he woke up cold or cramped and immediately on alert, so far away. Things weren't perfect or whatever, because that was impossible. Hatred for the hand the world had dealt him still simmered just beneath his scarred skin, but it was easier to ignore when he had the happiest he had ever been in his life. He could close his eyes and pretend he was a normal person, living a normal life. He could pretend Hawks was a normal boyfriend instead of an associate/enemy with benefits/roommate/baby mama/object of weird feelings shit that they had going on. He would pretend that the jaded terror he felt about becoming a father was just normal first-time parent feelings instead of genuine fear that his humanity was too broken to feel love for the kid who deserved everything. But somehow, with all this, being relaxed and comfortable and safe and whatever the hell else, Dabi felt tense. He felt like he was holding his breath and waiting for the other shoe to drop. He was waiting for the universe to say, psych, or to realize it had mistakenly let something good happen to him for once. Hawks was babbling about being able to see Omelette's hand or something while they candled him. He was distractingly more baby-sized now. taking up most of the egg. I was thinking Hawkery like Star would be a good name, since stars and fire, like you, in the sky, like me. Hawk said, Dabi, you in there? You're not gonna pass out again, are you? Dabi was only half listening. In his head, he was forcing himself to remember everything about this moment that he could. Remember it, Dabi thought, because you're gonna lose this too. I just think Dungeons and Dragons would be a good addition to game night, Spinner was saying. Save the game night pitches for game night pitches time, Toga whispered. Otherwise, it get put on the game night blacklist. She sounded like she was speaking from experience. In that case, I suggest Monopoly, Spinner rushed to say. Aren't we supposed to be doing some actual serious shit tonight? Dabi asked. As glad as he was to be doing something productive, he was itching to go home. Yes, said Shigaraki. We're supposed to be meeting with another group to discuss sharing resources and intel. Another team meetup, Mr. Compress said. I must admit, I'm not the biggest fan of those. Shigaraki shrugged. It wasn't my idea. We have resources and intel. We need more people, Kirigiri reasoned, so it's mutually beneficial. Except they're not going to trust us, Mr. Compress gripped. And there's no way we're trusting them. Of course not. Shigaraki agreed, but they reached out first. If nothing else, it would be interesting. I don't trust your definition of interesting, Dabi growled. Is there anything you're not telling us? It's probably an ambush, Shigaraki admitted easily. And we're going anyways? Spinner sprouted. Shigaraki shrugged again. Said we needed people. Didn't say we needed them alive. No moose, Dabi thought. Seemed like grunt work, if you asked him. Not only that, it sounded dangerous and outside the realm of villainous activity speculated in his parental leave. You wouldn't expect me to be going, now would you? Dabi asked. I'm on parental leave. Togamouth whipped. Dabi flipped her the bird. Shigaraki only grumbled in response, but Kirigiri actually spoke up. No, I suppose that you shouldn't come, but we can count on you to burn the evidence. Dabi shrugged. Yeah, I can handle that. Good, Kirigiri said. Shall we go? He opened a warp gate to travel through. Immediately the air became colder. Brr, chilly, Toga shivered. Is that supposed to happen? Kirigiri didn't respond. In fact, Kirigiri wasn't moving. The League was on their feet in an instant. Something's wrong, said twice. Everything's peachy. Several dark shapes seemed to ooze out of the warp gate. Hello, League of Villains, a disembodied voice intoned. You're under attack. I'm gonna read the notes of this author. Notes. Wait, waiter, there's an angst in my crackfic. Oh, it's like that one, like, there's hair in my food. There's angst in my crackfic. No, hold up. I need to do that. I need to turn into Karen. What the fuck happened? Why is there angst in my crackfic? I ordered crack. I did not order it with a side of angst. I order it with a side of Mpreg, question mark. Pregnancy fic, question mark. Baby fic, question mark. And a side of domestic, fluff. Domestic fluff. Not angst. I didn't order a side of angst. Where did this angst come from? I did not order a side of angst. Why is it here? Take it back. I want to speak to the manager. I want to speak to the cook. I want to speak with the franchise. I want to speak to everybody in this room and everybody who put part to put this angst on my plate. Anyways, sorry. I went a little bit too much into that bit. I think today is the last day I'm recording before I go to my trip. I go to my trip tomorrow, so depending on what time we leave, I might record tomorrow in the morning, but if not, this is the last recording I'm gonna do. Yeah, so I have vacation. You guys are not gonna know about it because the videos are all recorded already. As we speak, technically speaking, I'm pretty sure this one's going up the 6th. Let me check. I'm pretty sure it's going up the 6th. Yep, it's going up the 6th. It's going up the 6th. Alright? So I'm pretty on good. I'm a couple days ahead. I'm like 5 days ahead. I'm good. Right? And then when I come back the 5th, I'm probably gonna have a little bit of time to record, at the very least, 3 episodes. So I'm good. We're rocking. We're chilling like a villain. Sorry, Descendants. The whole Descendants thing is stuck in my head. Anyways, as always, my raindrops. Make sure to eat, sleep, drink what? Oh wait, hold up, no. Dabi's catching mad feelings. I'm sorry. What do you mean that you're okay with gentle little kisses and physical affection and Hawks just being Hawks? My dude, that's not casual feelings or, oh, no, I'm catching feelings. You're falling in love, my dude. That's love. That whole looking at Hawks and just being content. Motherfucker, that's Hawks. That's love. 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 You want me to use it in a sentence? I'll use it in a sentence. You're in love. Anyways, as always, my raindrops, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds. Have a wonderful day or night. Link to my Discord server and socials are down in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.